Welcome to the Dead Arm Dynasty podcast, where we try to give a refreshingly candid take on the long-term fantasy value of football players throughout college and the NFL for all you Devy League, Campus to Canton, and Dynasty fantasy football managers. We're just three friends who spend all our time talking fantasy anyway, so we figured why not get a few mics and capture our conversations. My name's Rick, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Josh Pecoraro and Jacob Ellis, a.k.a. Jealous. Welcome back to the show. It's the Dead Arm Dynasty podcast. Back here with Josh and Jell, and of course, Rick back from my honeymoon.
Yeah, buddy.
Had a nice week out in Portland. It was gorgeous. But enough about me. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Phenomenal. Pumped to have the full squad back. Back to 100% though.
Yeah. I hammered home the questions last week, but it wasn't the same without you.
You did. I listened and I enjoyed everything I heard. I wanted to jump in and give my takes as I was listening, which obviously wasn't possible. But yeah, that was great. I didn't realize how much I was going to miss being able to do this while I was gone. So yeah, I'm pumped to be back too.
Anything in particular that stood out to you that and I'm obviously just throwing this at you without any prep, but anything in particular that really caught your eye, agreed with, disagreed with?
I'm going to go with no, because that's a lot to remember now.
Should have had you prep.
No,
for
you're
that
good.
One.
Bucks and six. I heard you say that,
baby.
Jell. Yeah, go Bucks. Pumped to get a little bit closer to football season. Basketball season ending is always one step closer. You guys sipping on anything fun before we get started here?
Well, speaking of the Bucks and six, I just kind of kept it classy tonight and drinking from the brewing company that's out of Milwaukee, just a nice ice cold Miller Lite.
I was thinking you were gonna go. If you're really trying to keep it close, you go real classy. Keep champagne.
Oh, there you
beers,
go.
Some highlights.
Schlitz too.
Old Milwaukee.
Oh man, we have so Black Rose, which was about a block and a half from one of my houses in Milwaukee, my college houses, and they would have $1 Old Milwaukee Fridays, and just get housed for like $10. It's great.
Yeah.
Then I moved to Dallas,
Hell yeah.
and certain bars you're paying $6 for
Woof.
rails.
Not the same.
Does that come in a pitcher?
If it was anywhere in Wisconsin, yeah, it would.
Fishbowl.
Yeah, my friend's parents own a place called Hyde in Dallas. They actually just moved locations during COVID. Very smart decision. The bar that was right next to their original location got shot up, and pretty bad. It was all over the news and everything. So they moved to a different area, and but they make this incredible old fashioned, and it's a solid $12 cocktail.
I was going to say, did they move because they got found? But that's a better reason that you had there. Hashtag dad jokes. Jell, what are you sipping on?
I am okay. So I bought this beer I've never had before. I was mostly attracted to it because of the packaging, the the 6-pack, the box, it's the case itself.
That's a good reason.
This bright purple. I wish I could show you guys on the Zoom the case itself, so that But so I brought that over to my buddy's house where we started watching the Bucks game. Yep, bright purple packaging. So it's a Hell's Doppelbock, and it's a whopping 8% ABV.
Yay, there it is.
So if you read the back of the label, it says, "Don't let the subtle fruit aroma." It's a Hell's Doppelbock that can sneak up on you.
All right.
It tastes amazing. It goes real smooth. So it's kind of deceiving that it'd be an 8% ABV.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how that impacts the next hour ahead here. Yeah.
What are you sipping on, Rick? Did you make another mistake tonight?
No. See,
now cup for you, Rick.
Now that I got married, I have all this leftover beer from the party bus and stuff. So I have a New Belgium Mountain Time Premium Lager, which New Belgium is one of my favorite breweries. So this is delicious and just what the doctor
those
ordered.
seltzers were flowing on the party bus there. Those were going down.
Everything was.
That and the
pace
of
of
the Bush.
Yes, the pace of beverages on that party bus was pretty crazy, and I think that set the tone. Let's dive into some fantasy football. Today we are going to be covering the AFC East, and instead of just talking about team by team, player by player, what we think, we're going to mix it up a little bit and do a draft style. So the three of us will be drafting teams consisting of 1 QB, 2 RBs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex spot. So a 7-round draft using only players out of the AFC East. We will obviously skip defenses and kickers because, of course, and we do need to establish our draft order. Josh, have you drawn tickets for this, or how do you want to break this up?
You can do it however you'd like.
All right, I'm going to do it off the top of my head. Jealous, you're first. Josh, you're second. I'll go third.
I got first pick in one of our leagues, and at least first choice
yes,
for
you do.
Where I want to pick, and so we'll keep that momentum going.
Yes, last night we did our ticket drawing for a couple of fantasy leagues, and Jealous getting drawn first means he gets to pick whatever draft spot he wants. So in honor of that,
Fair
you
enough.
can just have the first pick today. Out of the just stellar AFC East fantasy players to choose from. Unfortunately for us, though, since there's so few relevant players, having the first pick is pretty clutch for you.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
What up, my party people? It's your boy Jealous. I gotta put in a good word for our friends over at Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the absolute easiest way to record a podcast. Anchor has creation tools that allows you to record and edit right from your phone, your computer, or your tablet. Easy as that. It will also distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other listening platforms. You can also make money directly through the program with no minimum amount of listeners. And best of all, kids, it's free. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Yeah. So are you prepared to make your selection?
It makes having the one elite, good player.
Yeah, there is
makes
just
it a
one.
pretty easy choice. I got to go Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
So everything that he did last year, insane numbers, the improvement of Josh Allen, that's obviously one of the bigger factors here in making, keeping Diggs as an elite player. The other thing, Cole Beasley, his anti-vaccination stance, who knows, we obviously touched on D-Hop in a previous episode, and Cole Beasley again, is he going to be there? Who knows? That's only going to help out Diggs.
Yep, that is the obvious one to me. This division doesn't have a ton of studs in it, and that is more or less the only one. Josh, you got pick number 2. What are you thinking here?
Well, I knew Ellis was going to go Diggs because that's the obvious 101 for the AFC East and all of the hot garbage that it is. Usually I'd be looking running back here, but the running backs I don't feel really worthy right now. I feel like I can get equal talent at pretty much wherever you draft from here. Wide receivers are a lot of rookies, second-year guys, unproven guys. I'm going to lock in the only one proven good quarterback in the AFC East and take Josh Allen with my first pick. Usually I don't go quarterback that early, but Josh Allen to me is clearing ahead the next best player in this division.
That's where I would have gone. No fault there.
Yeah, I think I probably would have done the same thing. This being a dynasty pod, a dynasty draft, obviously those two Diggs and Allen teammates are going to be good for a long time to come. Me at the third pick here, I am deciding between... You know what? I'm not even between guys. For me, this is Jalen Waddle. I see him as the right dynasty pick in the AFC East as far as receivers behind Diggs. I think that long term he's got the most upside. It might not be immediate, might not be the first year, and that's where I could have looked to other guys, more established players, or Elijah Moore also might have a better rookie season than Jalen Waddle. But long term, I like the talent of Waddle. I will take that dart throw as a pretty likely to succeed one in Dynasty formats.
Thanks.
And then, of course, I get another pick because we're going to do snake draft. I'm not going to let you guys just get all the first picks. Let's see. I think I'm going to just go wide receiver heavy here. I'm going to take Elijah Moore as my second pick. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. I probably would have gone with him over, the number 2 pick, but
lucky for me, I get both. Same story with him. Rookie, he's going to play right away, and he's going to play a bigger role as time goes on. He's probably just going to grow with Zach Wilson, just like Waddle will with Tua. And I like to start dynasty teams with young wide receivers because they have the longest shelf life by a long shot. And in the AFC East, there aren't a ton of running backs that intrigue me, at least not at this point in a draft. So I am pretty happy with those two. Bumping it over to Josh in your second pick.
I just
want to
jump in real quick. What you said about Waddle. I think, the Jets are the Jets. Zach Wilson's going to be throwing the ball around, and, Elijah Moore is probably or, possibly going to be his best target out there. The way that the Dolphins play, Tua, he's got a sweet arm to throw it downfield, but he just hasn't shown it at all last year, which, that's going to limit Waddle's upside here to make any sort of immediate impact. And
Fuller.
And he's got Fuller, yeah. But that's just, I don't know. That's why I would have gone more over Waddle myself. But
So to confirm then, not just a AFC East draft, if this was just a straight-up dynasty startup, at this moment in time, you would take Elijah Moore over Jalen Waddle?
For the same reasons that, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, just wanted to confirm. All right, Josh, round 2, pick 2. What do you think?
Yeah, so wide receiver, I think there's definitely a little bit of a teardrop here in the dynasty format, so I'm going to stay away from wide receiver. Already got my quarterback locked up, so I'm looking at the running back position right now. Tight ends are kind of a hot mess, too. You got 2 over in New England that we're not really sure who's going to be the clear-cut starter right now, and then some unproven guys or up-and-coming guys behind them. So I'm going to try and lock in my running back position here. Buffalo, I'm going to stay away from having Josh Allen. He's got Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. Zach Moss is more than likely going to be the one that probably will take over the starter role this year, but I don't know. Singletary's still in there quite a bit. Josh Allen gets a lot of the goal line carries, so I'm going to stay away from that backfield. And I'm going to go with a guy that I know right now all the reports out of their camp say that he's their clear-cut number 1. I'm going to go with Damian Harris. He had a very good season last year when he was healthy and playing in New England. So I'm going to lock in Damian Harris for my first running back.
Yep.
I like it.
Issues there.
I had him listed as, he was my RB1 out of this division too, so I get that. Jealous, back to you at the end of the second here.
I don't need to necessarily repeat anything that Josh said, and so for this reason, I'm going running back, and that's Zach Moss is not, something I'm even considering right now.
Are you sure? He's still available.
Yes, he's available, but he's not, but he's not on my list of guys that I want at all, for sure. So, running back, my 2 picks, it's going to be Myles Gaskin, Michael Carter.
Yep, those make perfect sense to me.
I've had 3 pretty obvious picks myself so far. I'm pretty happy with how this is starting off.
I'm glad we're making it easy
Thanks,
for you.
Guys.
I definitely would have done the same there. Those are the clear-cut next 2 running backs, and now it feels like there's a drop-off, which I'm not thrilled about. But I'm not even up yet. Josh,
and
what are you thinking here?
I still think with the wide receivers, there's plenty to choose from. They're all in the same area. I am going to go back now with Ellis. I was hoping that either Carter or Gaskin were going to fall back, but with you taking Diggs, I figured you're probably going to lock up your 2 running backs here. But I'm going to go with Zach Moss and lock him in. Not really happy pairing him with Josh Allen, but I think he's going to be the next best running back in the division. And, James White's somebody that will catch passes free out of the backfield in PPR format, but having Harris, I don't feel confident playing Damian Harris and James White together in the same week. So I'm going to get my other running back out of the way and get Zach Moss locked up.
I don't know how I feel about that. It's been pretty interesting when you talk about stacking. It's typically it's QB and wide receiver, QB tight end. But if you went Stevenson and James White, you'd have basically that New England or the Harris and White stack. You'd have pretty high percentage of that Patriots backfield, and I think that could be pretty beneficial. I would have put some pretty strong consideration in taking White.
I mean, dynasty format too. I mean, he's been in the league for quite a bit. And then the whole quarterback situation there too, which I'm curious to see what ends up happening with you guys with your quarterbacks left. But I mean, you got Cam Newton there, Mac Jones there. We're not quite sure who's going to be their clear-cut starter opening day, or if it is Cam Newton, how quickly Mac Jones might get to play. So I just wanted number one running back in the division, Damian Harris, and then I'll maybe scoop up White for a flex play if I need to down the road, but I can just stay away from that combo.
Yeah, that's fair. And since you both have 2 running backs, I'm going to just be transparent and say that I'm going to wait on that because I don't see you each taking a third at this point in time. So my first of 2 picks in a row here is going to be Hunter Henry. I mean, you have to just shoot your shot between him and Jonnu Smith, and I'm going to go with Henry as the guy that's slightly more productive in New England. I'm hoping that presents some kind of tight end advantage over you guys a little bit. It probably won't, but I'm going to go that route and just hope for the best. And then I'm going to go with Zach Wilson as my quarterback here. I think for the same reasons Jealous said, he's going to be down in a lot of games. He's going to just have to throw. He's got a big arm, and he's got some pretty good receivers around him now. So I trust him over Tua or the combination Mac Jones, Cam Newton that I don't want any part of. So, Zach Wilson will be my second pick.
Yeah, it's a good pick there. He was my next quarterback off the board. So,
yep, I would have.
Interesting with Hunter Henry. That's where I was torn. He wasn't the number one guy I have in the division, but it's hard to know right now with New England. I could definitely see him being the one, but I could also see Jonnu too.
He wasn't the number one tight end on his team. I have Jonnu ranked higher than Henry myself. I always just struggle with Henry with his injury concerns. It's come back to burn me multiple times over the years. I'm sure that we all have owned Hunter Henry in some league, some capacity. Just from my personal experience, I'm sick of him. So that's why I have Jonnu ranked higher on his team than I do Henry.
That's actually a really good point you raise. I want to touch on that a little more. I've never actually had Hunter Henry in any league, so I have not been burned, and I have not felt that burn. And getting your perspective that sucks tells me a lot that maybe I should be a little more wary of Hunter Henry going into this season. And, thankfully we're not starting a real league that I have to roll with this team on. So I'm going to stick by my Henry choice in this, but this is good to know.
I got it
before
written
actual
in
draft
pen, so you
season
can't
hits.
go back on this anyways.
Yeah, same here. No, and
That's
I
fair.
Unfortunately or fortunately had Henry for 2 seasons. I had the one, I think, his sophomore year, and he had just a ridiculous
that's when he
amount
went
of touchdowns. Just went off, and it was awesome. It was like
Oh, yeah.
the best tight end to have. And then I had him the next year when he was hurt the whole chunk of the season. So, yeah.
It's
definitely
like the same thing as very comparable to Jordan Reed when he was in his heyday with Washington, and every time he was on the field, he was awesome, put up real sweet numbers, number of touchdowns, but he got concussions what felt like every other week, and so it's great to have him when he's playing, but it's insanely frustrating when he's not.
Yeah.
And a lot of times,
a little worried about Jordan
I like
Reed.
to go with the guy that has that upside. I try not to let, previous injuries bother me too much because, according to science, being injury prone isn't supposed to be a thing. But for some players, it seems like it is. I mean, Jordan Reed, with all of his concussion issues.
Right.
it seems like he gets concussions at a different rate. And yes, once you get your first, it's easier to get your second, it's easier to get your third, and on and on. But just for me, I've been burned by Henry getting hurt too much that I would have gone Jonnu.
Right. Side note, prayers out to Jordan Reed, just hoping that you stay healthy for a long time, like for the rest of life. Yeah, he retired, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want him to, have issues at 45 because of all of the concussions he had. That would be really sad. So, yeah. Moving on. I just picked Zach Wilson. Josh, who are you thinking after your Zach Moss last choice?
You guys trying to buy me a lot of time for picking my next pick. I still have no idea who
You're so welcome.
I'm taking, though. So I'm definitely looking at the wide receivers here. I mean, it's not great.
Taking that Corey D?
That is actually who I'm going to take. I mean, just with what you had said with Zach Wilson, they're going to be down in games. They're going to be throwing the ball, hoping that Corey Davis, being the big contract that they just got him, I know that he's going to be out on the field. So I'm hoping he builds some rapport with Zach Wilson, at least starts off as their number one wide receiver. So I'm going to lock in Corey Davis here.
Yeah.
Good choice. I like it.
He's going to start off at least with the Jets as the wide receiver one. Elijah Moore is, I think he's probably more of a talented player overall, but he's not going to be that number one guy, at least right away. Rookie season, a lot of times, especially the first half, there's a bit of a struggle. I think that Davis finally puts up a pretty sweet season last year in Tennessee.
Yeah, after 4 years in the league.
Maybe it was because it was contract year. I don't know, but he actually finally showed out. Happy for him for getting that payday finally.
Right.
If it weren't for last year, he would not have gotten that payday. So I think after last year, everyone kind of changed their opinion on him a little bit in a more positive way. So no issues on this on my end.
Yep, same here. He was next on my wide receiver list. I like it. Jell, back to you with your fourth selection. You're sitting on two running backs and Stephon Diggs.
I'm going to go with who I had as the top tight end, and that's Mike Gesicki. Put up a really sweet year with both Fitzmagic and Tua last year. Real big-time red zone threats, big, tall body. For me, he was my easy number one tight end within the division.
Yeah.
You like them big, tall bodies?
What's wrong with big, tall bodies?
Nothing at all, man. I'm just checking.
He was my number one ranked tight end in the division, too. I had him on my Dynasty team last year, and he was definitely somebody once Tua got on the field, you saw more production out of him, had good rapport with him, so I like the pick.
I'm going to just take the other side of the coin on this and say I think that we're not really going to see a major breakout out of him anytime soon, and mostly just based on the differences between last year of Waddle and Fuller are there now. He doesn't have Tua and or whoever replaces Tua in the fourth quarter won't have to just rely on Mike Gesicki because Parker's not open on a particular play. So I'm expecting some of his share goes to Waddle and Fuller, and for that reason, I'm not too excited about grabbing him as my starting tight end
I would think that, they're going to want to use, their number 6 overall pick quite a bit, and they obviously brought in a free agent receiver in Fuller, but so maybe Gesicki doesn't put up the exact same numbers as he did last year, but I still think that the talent is there, and like I said, the body frame is there.
Yes.
So, I'm sticking with it. Moving on to as we reach back around.
Jealous, you guys both get 2 picks in a row all the time.
Yeah, I like that part.
Going Jonnu.
Whoa!
Just fucking one of you guys, fucking Josh here. In Tennessee last year, he was sweet. Belichick clearly likes to use his tight ends. There's a reason that they paid for both him and Henry. I know, he's a big physical freak. He's never had any sort of injury history. So they're going to be doing a lot of 2 tight end sets out there in New England. And also a big part of it is the strategic piece of this. and making sure that Josh gets screwed in his tight end position.
I love that part so much.
So I'll throw him into my flex.
That's an interesting flex, but I love it from my
perspective. The other
perspective.
thing, too, look at the rest of what's out there for other receivers and running backs. It's not the cream of the crop.
For the record, we started with the AFC East along with the NFC East because they both suck.
We're going to hopefully build that up,
Yes, we're going to ramp up to the players that matter more. Josh, what you thinking now that you're screwed at tight end?
I'm okay with it. It's fine. I wasn't super excited about Jonnu just with Hunter Henry in New England. I kind of wanted to stay away from that situation. Granted, I think Jonnu was the next most talented tight end on the board, but like I said, you don't know where the ball's going to be going there, so I just kind of wanted to stay away from that. I was hoping Gesicki was going to fall. I didn't think L was that high on him, so thought for sure we're high on Jonnu and then have Gesicki. Thought maybe I'd be able to sneak him, but I'm looking at wide receiver here, shore up that position since tight end really I'm fine with either of the other two guys. I don't really see them in different tiers. They're pretty much the same player, but I'm going to go with a guy that just got paid. You guys touched on. I'm going to go with Will Fuller. Granted, he's had a little bit of trouble staying healthy, but I think he's still talented. New situation, new team. So I think change of scenery is going to benefit him, and I'll lock him in as my wide receiver.
Yeah, I like the pick, and I wish you didn't do it, but I guess we're all just screwing each other here.
I guess that's what happens with the three-team, one-division draft.
Yes.
So.
It is natural that's how this is going to fall. So I'm sitting on 0 running backs right now, and I have a flex spot to fill yet. So I'm a little indecisive here. I think that I'm going to pick one of my running backs for starters, and that's going to be Ramondre Stevenson.
I almost
that
went
surprise
him.
Me.
With the last one, just so I know I got your boy. But
This being a dynasty, obviously Damian Harris is going to be the main guy this year, but Belichick really likes Ramondre Stevenson. He's built like a truck, and his legs can move surprisingly fast for that. So he should have a role in the NFL and be around for a while. I don't expect him to be a running back that just never quite phases into an NFL offense. So whether it's late this year, whether it's an injury to Harris, whether it's next year, Stevenson is a guy that I am excited to have in dynasty leagues. So that being this format,
I go back to something that I believe we've said before on this show is the LeGarrette Blount comp. When he was in New England, he was incredibly fantasy relevant. All the goal line touches he was getting. So the moment Cam Newton takes a spot on that bench and gets replaced by Mac Jones, suddenly all those goal line carries are going to reappear for the running backs, whether that's Harris or whether they bring in the bowling ball, Ramondre Stevenson. The bowling ball.
I hope it's Stevenson. So we will see how that shakes out.
It's funny too with New England, just that's like the biggest thing that's making a lot of the players not fantasy relevant right now is because Cam Newton is potentially starting quarterback. I mean, you figure once he's gone, Mac Jones isn't mobile, so you're going to get a lot more utilization out of the running back position. And I mean, we saw what Cam was doing last year, and I mean, there's games where he was getting negative fantasy points because he can't really throw the ball anymore. So I know you guys don't like Mac Jones a ton, but I still think it's a better upside than Cam Newton in that offense right now. So I'm excited for the day that he gets to see the field just to see what he can do.
My dog is licking something on the couch, and I don't know what it is.
Oh, that's fun. You put some peanut butter on
No,
there?
I don't think so. It could be leftover pizza crumbs or something. I had a pizza last night that I ate on the couch.
Hey, there you go.
It's damn good pizza.
Yeah, now I want some pizza.
All right, where are you going with your is this your last pick or second to last?
No, this is 6th round pick for me. I still need a running back and a flex spot filled here. I think I'm going to defer to running back because the receivers remaining, I'm pretty equal on most of them. So I will hold off on that and just go for any touches at all and get the James White PPR points coming in here. I need it badly without an actual running back on the team yet. So even though these are
Doubling
both
down.
Patriots. They
On some backup running backs. I like it.
and they both have potential totally different roles. I'm not saying that you should ever try to start a team with just those two, but under the constraints that we have and the fact that I started with Waddle and Elijah Moore means that I had to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I do like James White a lot, though. It's weird. I don't think anybody ever thinks of him as, your typical stud running back, but he's not your typical guy that's going to get a bunch of touches on the ground. But he always seems to get a few catches, and in every game, the occasional touchdown. Saw it in the Super Bowl that year. What year was that?
Houston,
It was Brady's last title on the Pats against it was the Falcons, and
when he deserved the Super Bowl
MVP. He totally
Right.
deserved that. 3 touchdowns. Let's be honest. Come on.
It's ridiculous.
But
Yeah.
I guess that it's Brady. They want to get him as much love as they can, which it's it's not like he needs any additional help trying to get in the hall. One extra award, whatever. I mean, it was years ago, so I should probably just get over it. I feel the same. I would have gone with that same pick. Your other options would have been Michel, who might end up being the 4th running back now in that offense, which
Tevin
it's kind of crazy to
Coleman.
think about. When he was his rookie season,
Right.
Sony was awesome.
Yeah,
And-
big hype out of him.
I don't know if he just fell out of favor with Belichick or what happened there, but
Well, that's an easy thing to do.
One
apparently,
fumble and you're benched.
then you're done. So that
Singletary
would
was
have
the
been
only
that
other
would have
one
been
that would have
the
even
best
been
option
the
right
thought
there for
me,
sure.
just between those two, but I think you made the better choice with White, just with those PPR points.
And Tevin is, Tevin will have a few, he'll start the first few weeks in New York until,
Short-term guy.
fine
Long-term
short-term
dynasty
option,
now.
but long-term, don't want to touch him.
Yeah, if your dynasty team needs a running back, I mean, he's somebody that you can pick up to maybe put in the first couple weeks if you need some depth, but otherwise, leave him on the waivers.
Jealous. What are you thinking for 6th round here?
Hey,
I got
skipped
2 picks
over
left.
me.
Oh,
Jeez.
Oh, whoops, sorry. I totally ignored Josh there.
Actually, I
was
should have let it play off.
just
to see
hoping
who
Josh
else
wouldn't
is-
notice.
Fucked him over. But, that'll be nice. Well,
I think it's
since
that.
Ellis already took.
Well, maybe it's that leftover beer. Is that already kicking in, buddy? Your party bus beer?
Oh, yeah, that must be it. Yep.
Well, just going off of the board here, Ellis has a tight end and his flex spot's a tight end, so I know he can't draft another tight end to screw me over. So I'm going to leave that for my last pick. So,
I would if I could. Maybe I could
I know you would.
see if I could put
You can start your
Dawson or
bench,
Herndon into my QB spot,
So I'm going to look back. The running backs really don't intrigue me for my flex spot. We touched on Devin Singletary, but I'm going to go with a little bit more upside. I wrote down 12 receivers that I would be interested in having in the dynasty format, and this guy is the only one on New England that I'm interested in, so I'm going to take him and Jacoby Myers. I think
Nice.
somebody's got to be the one. Somebody's
Ooh.
got to be their number one wide receiver. I know Nelson Aguilar's there, but I mean he's getting up there in age. He had a decent year last year with the Raiders, but I like the
I feel like he finally found his hands last
right.
year. They seem to have been
Yeah, he did.
missing
first,
the first however many
of his
years.
career. So no, I like the
Which,
upside. With,
Obviously does you no favors, especially, in Philly.
not at
Right.
all.
Dropping passes not something you can be doing in Philly.
Well, there was that one guy that was catching babies out of a burning building, and then he got interviewed afterwards, and he was just like, yeah, we were just catching them, unlike Aguilar.
But
That's a
So that's a Philly
fan for
fan.
you.
Also, if there's
All those
snowballs and
douchebags out there that like to light hotel banner things on fire, and that's how they like to celebrate a
sense. We're in the
championship.
city
Why
now.
don't if you want to look at how to celebrate with class, look at how the Bucks fans did it. Yeah, got hammered outside the Pfizer Forum,
With
but we
class.
did it with class. We're not trying to burn down the city.
Yeah, no, just like the upside there, young player, and hopefully when Mac Jones comes in, he shows some rapport with Jacoby and can get some fantasy points out of him. So
Did you hear what Cam referred to Mac Jones as mac and cheese. Like, is there a worse nickname in the world? That's so easy.
Well, I think his general body type
yes,
suggests
he does
that
look like
that's
he's
probably
playing.
how he got it.
Doesn't seem like he really is, out there cutting
Gonna lock in that
carbs.
Kraft sponsorship.
Yeah.
Got
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
different.
Oh, yeah.
Different Kraft.
New England.
I thought for the longest time that Robert Kraft was the owner of, that Kraft mac and cheese and that family of brands, Heinz and whatever too. But no, he's doing probably something way more badass, finances or real estate or something.
Sounds illegal. Jealous. Jealous. What are you thinking for your next pick here?
So as that swings back to me, I had to go with Denzel Mims, man. As my wide receiver too. I'm looking at everybody's that's left on the board. One of my options would have been Devontae Parker, but I don't.
Maybe not
I
right
don't-
away, but eventually.
He's maybe going to start off as their wide receiver one, but Waddle and Fuller are going to end up taking that.
He'll be
wide
the
receiver one
honorary
and two
wide receiver
spot.
one for a couple of weeks.
I thought he was the best receiver left on the board. The talent is I think undeniable. Since I know that you guys won't be taking another QB, I'll save that for my last
Yeah, it
pick.
didn't matter. This is the one I've been waiting for to see what you do at the quarterback position with Allen and Wilson off the board. So let's.
Yeah, it's got to be Tua. I'm not in on Mac Jones at all, and Cam can't throw the ball down the field at all. I don't love having Tua, but maybe instead of a sophomore slump, he just had a rookie slump. And maybe he breaks out in year 2. One extra year away from that injury as well, that hip injury. So it's got to be Tua.
I really wish I could reverse 4 picks and then tell you it's a super flex so that I could take Tua. And
And then I take
you'd be
Mac
stuck
Jones.
taking.
You're just stuck with Cam Newton.
I'm
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
stuck
You
with
get
Cam and
only Cam. You can put in Dawson Knox as your
Speaking
other
of
QB.
Dawson
I'll
Knox,
let you
what's
have
going
that.
on with you,
Yeah,
man? What's the next pick?
That's who's locked in. So I think he's definitely better. No,
Not going Herndon?
Everybody's been hyping him up for the last couple years, and I don't think it's there. So Dawson Knox. At times watching some of the Bills games, he's halfway decent tight end. He's decent at run blocking. I just think it's not a huge prolific passing offense. Josh Allen's got his favorite targets. You got Diggs. And then the other guy was
Your boy, Gabriel
I was
Davis.
going to grab Gabe Davis the last time around, but I knew I was going to go Dawson Knox, so I didn't want to have Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox on my team with that. So I just decided to go with Jacoby Myers. But yeah, I think he could potentially crack the top 12, which isn't saying much for tight end position, but some potential there.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I get Mr. Irrelevant here.
Which every
and,
player left available to be drafted is,
Yeah, you're right. That's pretty much all of
appropriate.
them. But I am torn between 3 receivers right now. That would be Devontae Parker, who I'm probably not going to end up picking. Nelson Aguilar, who personally I would have put him over Jacoby Myers, mostly because I think that for the next 2-3 years he'll be better. He's obviously older and will eventually get phased out of that offense, or he'll drop 3 balls in a game and Bill will sit him forever.
That's where I disagree with you. That's why I have him ranked higher because, who knows how it goes. Bill might just cut him.
You're not wrong. It's a very real possible narrative, and that pisses me off that that's a real thing that could happen. Because I don't know, I had Aguilar last year in our Dynasty League with his good season on the Raiders, and he was actually awesome. So I'm hopeful for his own sake that he can be awesome again. But I'm going to take Gabe Davis
not Cole
as
Beasley?
my last pick. This being Dynasty, he makes not Cole
Chipotle.
Beasley. That's a hard pass. Hard pass on anti-vaxxer Cole Beasley. I will instead take probably vaccinated Gabe Davis, given that he hasn't come out and said anything otherwise. It's a Dynasty League. He's a second-year player who just came off an awesome rookie season with a bunch of touchdowns. He was very under the radar. Didn't get talked about a lot because of how deep last year's receiver class was and how good everyone else did too. I have full faith that Gabe Davis will continue to be a wide receiver 2 going forward in that offense now that John Brown's out of town. Cole Beasley's probably out of the league.
Downtown John Brown.
I didn't even try to do that. So that wraps up our 7-man teams. Let's quick run through them just to see who we like the most here. Probably Jealous's because he got Steph Diggs. So Jealous's team has quarterback of Tua, running backs Myles Gaskin and Michael Carter, wide receivers Stephon Diggs, Denzel Mims, and double tight ends Mike Gesicki and Jonnu Smith.
Grab a wide receiver.
Yeah, I think the double tight ends thing is weird. Pick Devontae Parker or Nelson Aguilar. Or...
I prefer Jonnu over both of those tight ends. I guess I just like him more than you guys. I don't know.
You actually could have had Will Fuller too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could have. Well,
right? Yeah,
I like my team.
I love that you did that.
It was a
screw
competitive
Josh.
advantage as well to take Jonnu.
Yeah,
I mean,
I feel you there.
At Peck's team with Dawson Knox instead of Jonnu Smith is completely different.
Yeah, totally agree. I love that part.
I guess that's the luxury of having a 3-man league with only.
You can intentionally,
exactly.
with only 4 NFL teams involved. Josh's team had Josh Allen as his quarterback. That's pretty solid. Dawson Knox is the tight end, which is not.
I do not.
Then we got
like
running backs. Running backs Damian Harris and Zach Moss, and then wide receivers Corey Davis, Will Fuller, and Jacoby Myers. I like the receiver crew. Running backs are better than mine by a long shot. Quarterback's better than all of us.
Yeah,
so it's a good team.
2 backup running backs as your running backs. So
I do.
You should probably like my team more.
Speaking of my team, I have Zach Wilson at quarterback, Ramondre Stevenson and James White at running back, which is not good, and then Hunter Henry at tight end and wide receivers of Gabe Davis, Jalen Waddle, and Elijah Moore. My only hope here is the dynasty part of this. I think I have a pretty youthful team that has a lot of potential, but yeah, right now this season I'm not going to beat you guys.
What I do like about me and Josh's team, we have the 2 players that are really the only 2 difference makers within this division between Allen and Diggs. The rest of these guys, ideally you don't have any of these guys starting week 1.
Or 2, hopefully.
I mean, all these guys are potential flex options, but you don't want any of these guys as a starting running back or I mean, tight ends. Yes, I think 3 of the 4 are worthy of being starting tight ends, but that's the only good position group within the division is that tight end spot. But 2 of them are on the same team. The QB, wide receiver, running back positions just overall are pretty pathetic.
I would be interested, and maybe we'll get to see this eventually, what this draft would look like if we did, say, the NFC West or something like that that's just loaded with talent.
That's going to be a good one.
Yes, this being the least interesting division we have as an option. I don't know. I thought this was a pretty interesting way to do it. I liked it this way.
Yeah, it's a different perspective, especially when you guys touched on there's not a whole lot of talent outside of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, so makes it a little bit more fun, interesting.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, are there other players in this division that you at least want to bring up at all to be aware of for dynasty purposes? Or I can maybe lead us off with one. I'm going to go Mac Jones and just say he, should be on a team. He's probably going to take over for the Patriots maybe, halfway through the season, next year at worst. And he's going to play for Bill, and he's going to play at least the style that Tom Brady used to play. So maybe that works out. Maybe it doesn't at all, but it's worth having him on a team.
Yeah, that's the only other one I was going to say. No, Gel does not like Mac Jones at all.
Nope.
I mean, Bill Belichick offense. We'll see if he can work his magic. But yeah, that's the only other guy that I think we didn't talk about during the draft that I would bring up. So,
I had one guy that I think I just wanted to bring up one thing that we can look forward to in training camp is to see how this Dolphins running back room ends up shaking out. For that RB2 spot, there's 2 guys that are pretty much, it's going to be between these 2 guys. It's going to be Malcolm Brown and who they just brought in from the Rams, and and Salvin Ahmed. Rams, of course, got kind of screwed there with the Cam Akers injury. If they would have held on to Malcolm Brown, they would have had a pretty respectable running back room. But, now he's got a chance to score some carries and, at least to back up Gaskin. And so just something to keep an eye on between, who that backup running back situation is going to be. So especially if you're a Gaskin owner, make sure you're keeping an eye on that during training camp, because you're going to want you're going to probably end up wanting one of those two backs on your bench as that Myles Gaskin handcuff.
I think the same thing can be said with the Jets backfield too.
Handcuff.
Keep an eye on what that training camp battle looks like. See if it's going to be Tevin Coleman or Michael Carter, because that could be huge for you for Dynasty. If you see that Michael Carter's got the advantage, rookie running back right out of the gate, that's nice to have. So it's not the same Jets team we've seen in the past, so we've got a little bit more hope that their offense will be a lot more productive than they have been. So just one to watch.
I want to bring up one name that is mostly irrelevant, and you guys will someone who should not be on your roster, but should be someone that you're aware of if you find yourself in injury or bye week hell. I just think that we're going to see consistent average production out of Braxton Berrios for the Jets this year. He's got a nice rapport built with Zach Wilson already. He's turning into kind of just that reliable slot guy. He's never gonna bust it for a 100+ yard game unless he squeezes out a 90-yard touchdown. I'm not ever expecting big things for him. But if you're just desperate to find someone to plug into your flex spot, you could just pick up Braxton Berrios, and it's probably going to work. And then if you like to play Madden, Isaiah McKenzie is a under-the-radar superstar in Madden because he is faster than everyone else. So if you just put him in your slot and throw it to him on a slant, slants all day to Isaiah McKenzie, you won't lose in Madden. So just an FYI to those out there that like to do a little of that.
So where do you guys sit on Kendrick Bourne? He was obviously brought in as a free agent, into the past to play that second wide receiver role. Is he worth rostering? I guess it depends how deep your bench is, obviously, but I personally, I'm not too high on him.
No, he might be somebody to keep an eye on, just kind of watch him on waivers. But like I said earlier in the episode, I don't really want to even touch any of the New England wide receivers or tight ends until Mac Jones is in there. Cam Newton's way past his prime. My honest opinion, he shouldn't even be their starter. So, he's got rushing touchdowns when they get towards the goal line, but their offense just was garbage last year with him there.
Yeah, he really...
whole time Josh was talking, Jealous was chugging his beer. I just want to call that out.
It was a couple of ounces. Okay. Cam, he played pretty well at the beginning of the season until he got COVID. And after he got COVID, it was amazing how much he just completely fell off. I would think that next year, I'm sitting here and making a correlation between COVID and his playing level falling off, and it might be completely invalid, but just something, I don't know.
It's a fair point, though. It is weird.
Yeah, it's something to maybe consider.
Yeah, weird timing. That's when he decided to. You will not decide.
I don't.
He started
think
to suck
he
at that point.
chose to fall off.
No, I don't think so either. But what's interesting though is that he was asymptomatic for COVID. So physically, in theory, he was fine. Maybe it was doing stuff to his body that he didn't really process. That I'm aware of. Yeah.
They say that some people, even if you're physically asymptomatic, you can still have kind of some of that brain fog.
Yeah.
And with that Josh McDaniels Belichick system, we all know it's pretty complex, a lot more complex, I would assume, than the system that he was running in Carolina. May have an effect on him that he didn't even realize.
Yeah, totally could have. It'll be interesting to watch that QB competition play out big time in camp, and then even as the season goes on, that'll... Josh McDonald's.
What?
Yeah, that was bad.
Man, get to work.
Josh McDonald's with Big Mac as his quarterback.
God.
Oh, that's way better. Shoot.
Had an
I should
opportunity.
have thought
And
of that. Damn.
you got practice. You
all right.
blew it.
Yeah.
What happens when you take a week off, kids?
Yeah, you're right. I'm rusty. That's all it is. Well, that'll pretty much wrap. That'll wrap us up for our AFC East division breakdown. Yeah, you can expect a few more of that draft style breakdowns of divisions going forward. We won't do all of them that way. We'll kind of mix it up a little bit, but yeah, I thought that was a successful format. Anything you guys want to plug before we sign off
Only
here?
thing I'd like to say for our listeners out there, I'd like you to do a little bit of homework between now and the next episode. I want you to either go and give us a rating, write a review, tell a buddy. You can pick one of those three things.
And 50 listens per episode. Per episode, yeah.
Not even the listens, just a rating, review, tell a buddy. Very simple.
Any of those four things.
Well, you can also subscribe, rate, review, tell a buddy, follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at Dead Arm Sports. Use that hashtag DAS. We are also now on YouTube, so you can find us there, listen to the episode. We don't have a video or anything like that, but I think it's especially useful for any listeners that have YouTube Music. I believe that's what it's called, where you can close out of the app and still be able to listen to the video. So YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, wherever you're listening, and just give us a follow, subscribe, rate, review, hit that download button. Let's to the moon.
Any of those dozen things.
To the moon.
To the moon. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.